Hey everybody, thanks for joining me again for another one. It was the summer of 2018 when I noticed there's a huge crack in the stucco on the front of our building. In fact, it wasn't just one crack, it was like 7 cracks. And I just thought, we'll just patch that. So we did. We kind of like a little bit of caulk, patch it all over. But it was deeper. It was a deeper problem than that. The caulk didn't hold. The stucco slumped a little bit more. The cracks didn't get sealed. They got bigger. They got bigger and bigger. And then pieces started falling apart. This is the front of our building. First thing people see. And it's like, what's wrong with that wonky column? Kind of it looks like a cartoon. And I said, okay, we're going to have to, we're going to have to take $5,000, $6,000 and get this stucco fixed. So I called several stucco companies. First of all, it's hard to find stucco guys anymore. So expensive, you'll know why. And I have this professional guy come out, a couple of them. And the first guy says to me, he says, you kind of got that has to all be replaced. And I said, well, how much does it cost to replace it? And I'm thinking, is it going to be $7,000? Is it going to be $8,000? He says, you won't really know until you get into it. But I said, I don't need just give me a ballpark. What should I be prepared for? He says, okay, it's going to be at least $20,000, could be $80,000. And I had a heart attack. $80,000, for stucco, a couple of cracks. I need that fix a crack thing on TV. And I said, you got to be kidding. So I have stucco guy after stucco guy. They all confirm this is a big deal. And, depending on if you get into it, it could cost more if there's any kind of structural damage. Don't worry, there's no structural damage. How I knew that, we'll never know, because there was structural damage. So we realized we're going to have to spend a large amount of money. And I had somebody give a big gift. And they were like, they gave it on Thanksgiving of Chest of Joash, they gave it of 2018. And they're like, what would it take to have this done by Christmas Eve? And I'm like, what I've already learned is there's no possible way, not with $1 zillion, could you do it that fast. This is a bigger project than I thought it was going to be. Okay, well, do it right, is what he said. So we get to tear into that thing right after Easter. It takes that long to get everybody lined up. They start tearing it apart and realize, there has been a water leak on our front porch probably since the very beginning. We had somebody put the front porch of the building on wrong. And we didn't know. Nobody knew. Nobody knew till we took the stucco off and saw all the rust. And it wasn't just the rust on the beams going around the edge. That would have to be grinded. That would have to be replaced. That would have to be, that's why it's going to be so expensive. It's like, but the big thing was the columns, the red iron columns that hold the whole porch on, were rusted at the bottom. All the water had pooled down there, and the stucco kept the water in there, and it had rusted to the point where those steel, red iron steel, they're like, it's being held by a thread. And this is what they told us. They said, it's so good that the stucco slumped, because if the stucco hadn't slumped and a hurricane came, it would have ripped the whole front of the building off. Do you know what happened? We got Hurricane Irma right after that, like the next couple of years. So I'm so thankful that we had some cracks, that we looked at the cracks, and not thankful that it cost so much, but it needed to be done right, which is what we did. So we had to get an engineer involved. We had to get another contractor involved. They had to come out and and do all the welding. We had to get all that approved. So our church was like under construction, pardon our dust kind of thing, for like 6 or 7 months it took to get that. Can you imagine? It takes that long. But in the end, God provided all the money up front for that particular project. It ended up costing a total of about $50,000 to do the facelift, and it looks so beautiful. Modernized it. We put all the stacked stone on it. Like the guy said, we did it right. And I'm so thankful that when you pull into our church and you see that beautiful, and by the way, we fixed the original problem, which was the leak. It was attached wrong. We had the professional guys, McKee Construction, came in and did that. I'm so thankful for Jim, who gave that gift so that we could have a beautiful church to come into. And thank you guys for all praying and praying and praying and praying through all that construction. God bless you. I love you. I think I got one more story tomorrow. See you then.